Open session from closed session. Can we get a roll call, please?
Well, I'm not in here.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. All right, thanks.
Councilmember Lowenstein.
Here.
Councilmember Horvath via teleconference, Zoom.
Here.
Councilmember Obaji, not here quite yet. Councilmember MD. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Narenheim.
Here.
And the record shows that Mayor Brand is absent.
And just so everyone knows, Councilmember Horvath was here for closed session, but he was not here on roll call, so.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any announcements from closed session?
We do, yes. Under item F6, the council authorized city attorney to defend the city in that matter, as well as file a cross complaint. And that was a unanimous vote.
Okay. Can we adjourn now to regular session on this beautiful February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2023 at 6:18 p.m. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Lowenstein.
Here.
Councilmember MD. Here. Councilmember Horvath via teleconference.
Here.
Councilmember Obaji is absent and Mayor Brand is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Narenheim, I'm sorry.
Here. All right, we're going to do a salute the flag and a moment of silence. On three. 1, 2, 3.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. We are going to start off with some presentations. We don't have any awards to get or to give. So, Councilmember Lowenstein.
Yeah, okay. I have 3 or 4 things to talk about. One is the next District 2 community meeting will be next Monday, February 20th, 6 to 7:30 on Zoom. You need to register beforehand at the District 2 webpage on the redondo.org website in order to get access to the Zoom link. The second thing is a great Super Bowl 5 and 10K. Thank you for all the help provided by Public Works, Police, and Fire. Some fun costumes that were out there. One that I loved was the convict with the FBI surrounding them, was running through it. So that was quite funny. I think they won first prize. That was pretty entertaining. But thank you for everybody that was involved with setting up the course and also making sure everybody was healthy and comfortable. So always a great thing to go down to and see. The third thing is I want to remind people that the draft EIR for the Green Line extension is out by Metro, and you can comment on those before March 27th. I believe it's on the Metro website. Also go to the Facebook page, Redondo Beach Quality of Life. That will tell you more about responding to the draft EIR. Again, as a council, we have unanimously supported the Hawthorne option to bring an elevated track down Hawthorne and not behind people's houses in the right of way. And the last thing is I want to remind people that are running for, whether it's council or treasurer or whatever, or school board, do not leave materials out in our lobby. This is public property, and that is a violation of code, election code, and it's electioneering. I hope people do not do that. We know better than that. All of us up here swore an oath to uphold our, I don't know if it's swearing an oath, but we promise not to campaign on city property. And I hope people adhere to that and remember that going forward. We only have another 3 weeks or so left before the election. So please conduct yourself well and make your case to the voters. That's it. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Horvath, do you have anything announcements?
Yeah, District 3 community meeting is this Saturday morning, 9:30 to 11 a.m. Special guest will be Chief Joe Hoffman, and we'll be doing our annual public safety update.
All right, thank you, sir.
Councilmember Horvath, can you confirm that you posted the agenda according to law?
Yes, and I sent an email on Friday to the city clerk's office doing that
Thank you.
from the hotel.
Yeah, from today. Got it. Okay. Councilmember MD.
Yes, thank you. The 5K was great, had a good time. I volunteered to do the registration, which is extremely fast. They have that down to a science. And it's quite an easy thing to get through 1,000 people that hadn't picked up their packet on Saturday. Although it is not the city's fault, just to say that again, it is not the city's fault, but I do want to apologize to the 5K runners who ended up doing a little more than that due to lack of signage. And so I know that's hard when especially when you're racing and you think you've planned for a certain distance and it goes longer. It's quite difficult. So I apologize, I'm sure, on behalf of the organizers as well. But again, not the city's fault.
Stop saying that.
You're talking about a lack of a turnaround, basically.
Can you also, since my 83-year-old father ran it, can you also point out it's not the city attorney's fault?
I am sure it was not the city attorney's fault, okay? So
you.
just to make sure we're clear on that. Also,
I saw him moving cones.
and on Dow Avenue, there is well, let me back up. I met with the Cub Scouts in North Redondo and for their merit badge requirements on city government. And one of the suggestions they had, I had to let them know wasn't, again, not the city's fault. They wanted to complain about the school lunches. And so if there's any school people out there, I just want you to know that they would like to have less sucky lunches. So the other thing they complained about was there's a sign on Dow Avenue, Police Department, that says this is not a truck route. Now, one of the Cub Scouts complained because that sign that lights up all night is right outside his bedroom window. And so I go, well, I'll discuss that with the police. But having said that, the parents that were at that event told me later that they liked where it was because it was like a little bulb out and it slowed traffic going into the neighborhood. So you decide who you want to listen on that one. And, but so I just want, if there was a possibility to move it so that it's not shining in his window, he would greatly appreciate that. So just FYI on that. And that was it. Thanks.
All right, thank you. So I got a couple of minor little announcements and updates. First thing I want to start off with, I did 10K myself. It was, the 10K was very well organized and run. So I want to thank the organizers for that. I want to thank Public Works. You guys were out there from the very beginning, closing things off, making sure we were safe. So thank you to Public Works out there. And I saw the firefighters out there on your bikes. Thank you for doing that. That was kind of cool to see you guys on bikes out there. And of course, I love seeing the police department and their new equipment, their new little watchtower. The first thing I saw when I showed up was like, what is that little watchtower thing? So that was cool. And it was a great event. I think they had a great turnout. So congrats to the Chamber of Commerce for doing a good job on that and moving forward. The next thing I wanted to bring up is I had a great community meeting on Saturday at the new South Bay Social headquarters at the old, formerly known as South Bay Galleria. And we had about 30 people there. Some people I've never actually seen. Some people I haven't seen in years. A couple from District 2, actually. And it was very informative. It was really cool to see the design, their plans coming together, how hard they're working to make that Galleria location a new and improved, and the responsibility they're taking moving forward with that project. It's a big project, huge project. I also want to add that the election is happening right now, so it's all mail-in ballot. Your ballots are due by March 7th. And speaking of public and what's going on, there's a public safety open house on March 5th. And I believe that is here at City Hall, I believe, right? City Hall on March 5th. So food truck, city service, music, fun. So come on down. They have it every year, 10 a.m. to 3 o'clock or so. So it should be fun and exciting. All right.
Could you get clarification? Is it due on March 7th or it has to be mailed by March 7th, the ballots?
If they are mailing their ballots,
I was talking to city clerk. Thanks.
thank you. If folks are mailing their ballots in, they need to be postmarked by March 7th. We need to receive it within
Just to
5
clarify that.
days of that date
Okay,
in order
thank
for
you.
them to count. But if you're dropping your ballots off into the ballot drop boxes in the city or at City Hall, they need to be in those boxes by 8 p.m. on election day, March 7th. Those boxes will be locked promptly at 8 p.m. on the 7th of March.
Do we have a lockbox in Riviera Village?
We do. The 4 locations are, let me see if I can do this by memory. Riviera Village in the Triangle parking area. We have the main branch library right outside the door, 138 feet from the podium. We measured it. The North Branch Library, and also Dominguez Park on Flagler, adjacent to Morrell House. And on Election Day, too, at Anderson Park Senior Center, we're going to have a ballot drop box, too, for folks in that area of town,
Fantastic.
besides the city clerk's office.
Besides the city clerk's office, which will be open until on ballot day until.
Anderson,
8 p.m. on
Anderson
March
Park will
7th.
have a drop box, you just said? Anderson Park will have a drop
Yes,
box?
the senior
Okay.
center will have a manned drop
district.
box.
Yeah.
It's on, and actually is it in the notice on everyone's sample ballot as well, on the back page. It has all those locations listed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right, onwards with our agenda. We have no agency, approval order agenda. Can we get a motion to approve unless you're going to move something around on our long agenda? All right, all in favor?
I want to move N2 before N1. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought you were serious there for a second.
It's such a short agenda.
All right, approval as is. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So, no agency recess. Do we have any blue folder items to admit to the record? I believe there's 3.
We do have 3 items. We actually did have one for closed session to 2 as well, but that was also accepted into the record by a separate motion.
Thank you.
For H4, we have for the ordinance 325123, it's establishing a tree protection and preservation law. There's a public communication. For J1, public participation on non-agenda items, we also have public communications. And on N1, the ordinance 3254-23 regarding skateboard parks and skateboarding and so on, we also had public communications submitted.
All right. Is there a motion to accept those of the record?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. So that brings us to consent calendar. We have 4 items on our consent calendar, 2 of which are actually only actual items. We have strategic planning items. Thank you very much for updating that. And of course, H4, which is the tree preservation law. Any member of the public can come down and speak on any one of these items if you like. We're going to ask Councilmember Lowenstein. Paul,
I was just reading the blue folder item. None for me, thank you.
Councilmember Horvath.
No, thank you.
Councilmember MD.
No, thank you.
All right. I'm not going to pull anything either. So if, can I get a motion to approve everything?
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Second? All right. Is there any member of the public that wants to come down and speak to any of these items? All right. Is there any Zoom comments?
First of all, I wanted to just to double check. There are no comments on e-comment, and I have 3 people that have signed into Zoom, but no one has raised their hand, so I don't believe we do have any public comment.
Okay.
Before we vote, can I just want to make sure that people know that there's a blue folder item and she made some really good points. So just if people want to read it.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Anything to read?
Yes, sir. We have adopted for H4, adopt by title only ordinance number 3251-23, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, California, adding Chapter 11 to Title 15 of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code, establishing a tree protection and preservation law for second reading and adoption. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So public participation on agenda items. So ground rules. Anyone come down and speak for 3 minutes. We cannot respond to what you have to say. We have 30 minutes. It's 6:32. So 30 minutes from now will be 7:02. And you're allowed to speak once on non-agenda. Anything that's not on the agenda, we will take orange cards first, then go to Zoom comments, then go back to in-person. Anyone else wants to come down and speak. on this beautiful, loving Valentine's Day. So first one up, Mr. Eugene, and then Nikki.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, city staff, Eugene Solomon, Redondo Beach. Welcome. Thank you all very much for this opportunity. Wanted to say I'm a candidate for city treasurer, the only candidate who has taken regulatory exams and worked as a licensed financial advisor, and the candidate who has helped restructure our pension debt and save the city $100 million. It is Valentine's Day, and so I'd like to extend some Valentines out to the community to follow up on some of what the council members said. Valentine to the Redondo Beach Chamber of Commerce. When you do great things, I'd like to acknowledge it. The Super Bowl 10K was an incredible event, very nicely handled, very nicely organized. Valentines out to the fire department and the police department for their work, and to Public Works for all the hard work that they do down there. Village Runner and Mike Ward, Valentine's out to you for helping to organize the event. Valentine's out to the hustle and the hard work of all the Girl Scouts that I'm meeting on the campaign trail, out there knocking on doors, selling boxes, the signs are out. They only get $1 per box for the troop, and they've got some plans, some big plans for what they do. So please buy in bulk if you can. Or make a donation to the kids. They're working really hard and they deserve all the reward for that. Valentine out to all the people who have endorsed me. Endorsements are wonderful. I recognize that endorsements don't do the work. You have to do that yourself when you get into the chair. Endorsements don't say or do much other than the fact that you're a worthy person, but you still have to be qualified and do that job. I'd like to send Valentines out to candidates who have signed the Code of Fair Campaign Practices. So Valentine's out to the school board members who have been adhering to those rules. Valentine's out to the District 3 candidates who have been adhering to those rules of fair campaign practices. I really appreciate coming down here tonight. Eugene Solomon, candidate for city treasurer. Happy Valentine's Day, and thank you for your time.
All right, Nikki, you are up next, and after that, Sheila.
Hi, Nikki Negretti-Mitchell, District 3. And I received my District 3 newsletter on Sunday, and I was surprised I didn't see anything about the Metro Draft EIR on it. But thank you for mentioning it tonight. I've been working beyond my own physical limits to try and get the word out to the entire city, to the point where I don't have time to even do my own communications to Metro. And it surprises me to hear that people who live a short distance away from the right-of-way actually think it's only my neighborhood that should ride in on this or that need to ride in on this. And I'm only one person with limitations, so I really need your help. Calling on all of you 5 council members to please send out an urgent communication to your constituencies and convey that they most certainly are allowed and they can, and we really need them to do this. Tell them how much it would mean to the vulnerable 486 families in their homes, and our city at large, plus the 600 homes in Longdale. Anyone can access all the info they need, and it's at rightofsay.com. All the links are there to get started. But I put together this draft EIR made easy sheet. And it's sort of it's a tutorial with step-by-step tips on easily opening a chapter of their choice, finding the relevant parts through word searches, and where to send the emails. I have it in PDF format and some hard copies with me tonight. Please email info@rightofsay.com to make a request. It's free. Our rally was a very positive success, so thank you for announcing it, Mayor Pro Tem. And thank you also for being there. And thank you to CM, Councilman Lowenstein. It's helpful for some of our neighbors to understand the division that's being sowed as a myth, and South Redondo really does support us. Biggest thank you goes to Candace Nafisi, whose consistent presence is felt and appreciated so much by those of us who are so impacted and very concerned for our future here. It's a nurturing presence, and we appreciate that you actually started with us years ago, before I was even involved and before you even knew you would run for council again. Apparently, you see the need. That is dedication to community advocacy, and what a commitment. So thank you, Candace, from the bottom of our hearts, and I know I speak for many others. I'm not crying, you're crying. To circle back and reiterate, I really want to make it easy for every Redondo citizen to respond to the draft EIR. So please encourage everyone to reach out to me for a draft EIR made easy sheet. I'm more than happy to share and hope to hear from everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here.
Thank you. All right, Sheila, come on down. And after that, no more cards.
I'm actually speaking on N2.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, he does say N2 here. Got it. My bad. All right. So is there anyone else who wants to come down and speak? Come on up.
Hi. Vicki Etzel here. Just out of curiosity, because at the beginning, Councilman Lowenstein had said that there's no campaigning here. Is that just written campaign material, or is it verbal as well? You don't have to answer that. I was just curious because it seems like people are coming up and campaigning. So
For clarification purposes, anyone can come and speak on non-agenda items. I'm talking about leaving behind campaign materials. That's a violation of electioneering law.
okay, but they can verbally.
They can
campaign.
verbally, any candidate's welcome to come up.
Okay.
Anybody's encouraged to speak and say, I support this candidate. That's fine, but leaving campaign materials is not supposed to happen.
Just curious. It was a
property.
little bit confusing.
No,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay, anyone else wants to come down? Zoom comments.
Candace Nafisi?
Good evening, Council and Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Candace Nafisi, candidate for District 3, Redondo Beach. I want to commend the Redondo Beach Quality of Life residents who gathered to rally to ensure that the Green Line is on Hawthorne Boulevard this weekend. I was so impressed by the number of residents who came to learn more about how they can protect themselves and their property values from the metro in their backyard. I hope each council member makes it a priority to share with their residents the importance of speaking on the DEIR and commenting on the DEIR. There are 486 Redondo Beach residents who will potentially be impacted. So please do your part and share in your newsletters, on Facebook, in any way possible. And if you can uplift this important document on the city website, I strongly encourage you to do so. Any members of our community can request the lawn sign or learn more by checking out rightofsay.com. Lastly, I also want to applaud the Redondo Beach Chamber of Commerce on a fantastic 5K, 10K event. It was done flawlessly as they've done in the past, and I just think it's such a wonderful event to uplift our community. Have a great night. Thanks so much.
Okay.
I do not see anyone else raising their hand, so I believe that we are completing the public participation.
All right, going twice.
Excuse me?
Yep.
Here comes Holly Osborne.
Good evening, this is Holly Osborne from District 5. This is more of a procedural thing, and I'm going to ask it as a question, but I know you're not going to answer it, but I would like you to think about it. I've been looking at the draft EIR, and I noticed that a figure is 99% wrong. I'm sure that it's wrong. I don't want to have to write to Metro and say this figure is wrong, and they say, okay, we'll fix it at the end. Is there a way, if something is clearly wrong, to get an errata sheet and to get it fixed now? Because if people are making conclusions on figures, and I'm not talking about the one about the metro width, I'm talking about something else. Is there a procedure where somebody in planning staff can now call up Metro and ask them, is this an error or not? That's a simple type of question.
Okay. We'll follow up with you. That's all I can say. Anything else, Holly? No, that's it. Okay. Anyone else want?
I have no one else.
All right, going twice. Going 3 times for in-person and gone. All right. So onwards to the next item, which is items N1, which is the allowing for skateboarding in municipal parks, because not that that's happening right now at all, anywhere in the city. Nope, not happening.
Not at all.
Nowhere. All right.
I'll take it over. Good evening. I'm here to walk you through the text amendment ordinance that is related to skateboarding and skateboarding facilities in the city. The title of this ordinance is long, but it's actually pretty straightforward. There are 2 areas in the municipal code that specifically prohibit the use of skateboards on any portion of the pier, international boardwalk, and the wharf. These are Title 12, Chapter 2, and Title 4, Chapter 9. Now, as everybody knows, we've got a new skate park that's under construction on the Pad 10 site of the International Boardwalk. So this amendment adjusts the language in these 2 chapters to allow skateboarding, which also includes scooters, roller skates, and inline skates on the Pad 10 site. Use of skateboards on any other area of International Boardwalk, the pier, or the wharf would remain prohibited and remain as in they've always been prohibited in those areas. It's, the way that it's written in Title 12 and in Title 4, it says that it's a little misleading. It says that skateboarding and bicycles are all prohibited unless noted otherwise. So hence signs that prohibit those activities. So there's no bicycles on the International Boardwalk, but obviously there's some on the bike lanes that go through the harbor itself. And in addition, both Title 12 and Title 4 are sections of the municipal code that only deal with the harbor. So it's not citywide in those sections. So in addition, we do have a chapter in the municipal code that does deal with certain regulations for skateboarding. It's Chapter 35. The problem is that Chapter 35 only pertains to parks. So Pad 10 falls outside. It's not official park. It's not zoned as open space. So in order to establish regulations that become citywide based outside of parks, what we're doing is we're creating a new section, Section 37, which I'll go over in the next slide. But essentially, we'll establish those regulations citywide, and then instead of having them live in the parks area of the municipal code, we'll refer the parks regulations to Chapter 37. It'll just point the finger at 37. You've got to abide by these regulations over here. And the new chapter that is applicable, it's Title 12, Chapter 37's. This limits skateboards, scooters, roller skates to only occur within skating facilities citywide. No other devices can be utilized. It prohibits people from bringing outside obstacles into the park, like extra ramps, extra rails that weren't a part of the original design. It requires that all users wear a helmet, elbow pads, knee pads. Anybody under the age of 12 needs to be supervised by a guardian. And it establishes hours of operation set by the community services director. And then any violation is a cause for immediate eviction. So with that, it is our recommendation, staff's recommendation to approve the draft ordinance, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
And I might just reiterate the point that was made earlier by Greg. There's some confusion, perhaps. I've seen the 2 comments through the blue folder as well as the e-comment. The current code prohibits bicycling and skateboard riding in the pier today, unless posted otherwise. So I think there might be some confusion that somehow this change that's proposed here is affecting bicycle riding on the bike path or where it's been historically allowed. It is not touching those areas. We continue and have always posted the area of confluence between the bike path and the pier as a place where we would like people to walk their bike rather than ride it, because there's just too much of a confluence of pedestrians and bicyclists for safety purposes. There's been a recent attempt by our police department to try to raise that awareness with some additional signage, as well as our recent video online. But that is not affected by this ordinance. That has no bearing on that. Bicycle riding has always been something that we can regulate through signage in the pier, and we do that oftentimes for safety purposes. Sometimes we'll post no riding signs when it's wet, and there might be concerns about slip factors, particularly inside the parking garage when we're traversing that space. So no change to that. The language in the code that pertains to that prohibition has been there for decades.
Okay, thank you. And we are, regarding the pier area, we are installing anti-skateboarding devices down the long meandering path down.
Yes, I mean, I think we're going to have a few additional accoutrements that we'll need to be adding to mitigate, prospective overflow activity, if you will, outside of pad 10. We've got some additional fencing that's going to need to be installed around the new skateboard feature area to ensure boards aren't slipping into the water. We're going to, I'm sure, likely have activity to and from the parking lot that may need some physical mitigation measure for. So that will be an ongoing process, I think, as we come to regulate and experience our new skate feature down there.
And at Perry Park, everything's going well with the new design there, with the kids there having fun, not getting in the way.
Yeah, I think so. I think the changes there have gone over well with the community, and I think we've avoided some of the concerns that were raised early on with the play equipment area, and I think our folks are happy up there.
And just so everyone knows, the South Bay Social District is putting in what's called a pump park, which is different than a skate park. Pump park is specifically designed specifically designed to include wheelchair accessibility, scooters, and other one-wheel and two-wheel devices that people are using other than skateboards.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilmember MD.
Well, that leads right into my point. So you're excluding wheelchairs from being able to use this park, based the way it's written, right?
The way it's written right now, yeah.
Why are we excluding the wheelchair folks from using this park?
To be honest, I hadn't thought about it.
Okay, so I would like to allow, to include in here wheelchairs, and if anybody from the public can think of anything else that's being left out, but right now it reads, only use of skateboards, scooters, roller skates, or inline skates will be allowed. All other devices are prohibited. That means that somebody in a wheelchair couldn't use the park. So I'd like to add.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the rule is for ADA purposes there. It may be by statute that wheelchairs are allowed in these facilities. I'm not sure. But
Just really clear when you say all other devices are prohibited. Right. So, we either take those out or we add wheelchairs to the included list, because I don't want to exclude anybody, especially wheelchair kids.
Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, when I love you that you brought it up, because when I read this, I automatically assumed this would allow wheelchairs.
Yeah, that's my impression as well, but I can't answer that definitively. We can check that.
It's pretty clear. It says only use of skateboards, scooters, roller skates, or inline skates will be allowed. All other devices are prohibited.
The only point here is that wheelchairs might be one of those overall exemptions that occur under any circumstance. You can't prohibit a wheelchair at any facility for any reason. So that may not be necessary in the code from a legalese standpoint, but if you can approve the motion tonight to include it, to make that expressly clear, I don't see any harm in that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any members of the public want to come down and speak on this item?
Eugene Solver, Redondo Beach, City Council member, at this point, the razor scooters. Would that be something that would be incorporated into that or not?
Scooters is in there.
Scooters, so any type of scooter, but not a motorized scooter of any kind.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from members of the public? Any person on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand regarding this item on Zoom, and we have one e-comment that is in opposition of the ordinance on e-comment. That concludes public comment.
Councilmember Horvath, if you have something to say or ask, go ahead and.
I would just say motion to approve with the additional language per Councilwoman MD's comments.
Second.
Perfect. All right. Any other comments? Staff comments? No? Perfect. All right. All in favor? Aye. Councilwoman Horvath?
Yep, I said it.
Okay. Thank you. Passes unanimously.
Okay, I'm going to read the title. Although the title is a little wonky, it says introduce and adopt, but I'm going to say I'm going to bypass and adopt since we are doing this first reading. Introduce By title only, ordinance number 3254-23, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Redondo Beach, California, adding Title 12, Chapter 37 of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code, establishing regulations pertaining to skateboarding and skateboard parks, and amending Title 12, Chapter 2 of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code to allow skateboarding on pad number 10, and amending Title 4, Chapter 9 of the Redondo Beach Municipal Code pertaining to prohibited activities in the Redondo Beach Fisherman's Wharf area, and amending Title 4, Chapter 35 pertaining to parks and recreation facilities as amended.
All right, onward. Item N2 in the long night of items taken care of. We are discussing the logo change, and there you go. Go for it.
Right. Becky, would you share my screen? Thank you. So good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. Tonight, for your consideration, we have a contract with Stellan Design for logo redesign services. As you may recall, we initially brought this item to you in October. It is a strategic plan objective. Council wanted to explore options for rebranding the city. And so staff presented two options. The first option was to hire a design firm to work with us to develop a new city logo. And that effort had a cost estimate of up to $70,000. The second option was to hire a rebranding firm, and they would engage in a months-long civic process that would essentially redefine or reposition the city's image as a whole. And that carried a cost estimate of up to $350,000. And so council directed staff to pursue option one. And in December, staff released the RFP for design services, for logo redesign services. And we sent it to 4 local design firms. Of those 4 firms, 2 of them submitted a proposal. And of those 2 proposals, Stellan Design provided the most comprehensive and streamlined service package, and it was also competitively priced. So you'll see up here the scope of work that they proposed. It is broken down into 3 phases with a timeline of 8 to 10 weeks. And I just want to preface this with the fact that we built in a lot of flexibility into our contract with Stellan Design. It says 8 to 10 weeks, but we gave it 6 months. And we also allotted a little extra buffer in the budget just to allow for any additional meetings or community outreach that we might ask of them as we move along in this project. So just very briefly, just to go over the 3 phases. Phase 1 is strategy and planning. This is where they would do a lot of the community outreach. They would conduct historic and market research and really delve into the culture and personality of Redondo Beach. Phase 2 is the creative phase, and that's where they start walking us through logo developments, and they provide logo options and iterations and revisions, and they continue processing community and staff feedback. And the end of this goal, the goal of this phase, the end of it should be us reaching that final logo design that really captures and represents the city of Redondo Beach. And then phase 3 is essentially the offboarding phase, where they provide us the brand guidebook and all final forms of the logo. And just a brief background on Stellan Design. They are a South Bay company based out of Torrance. They've undertaken rebranding and logo design projects for a range of companies, some of them that you see up here on the screen, so include CBK, Body Glove, ICANN, several local nonprofits and small businesses. They really bring a depth of experience and talent to this project, and so we're really excited to recommend them to council as our selected consultant for this project. And we do recommend that council approve the agreement with them for the city brand and logo redesign for an amount not to exceed $15,000. That concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions. We also have the founder and creative director of Stellan Design here with us, and she is happy to answer any questions about our company, their portfolio, or their approach to the project.
Do you want to come on up?
Nice to meet you all.
Great to meet you, Miss Small, right?
Yes.
Very good. I saw your name and image in here. I was like, oh, I know who that is. Perfect. Congratulations. Anything you want to add, update,
I just want
thoughts?
to share my excitement about the project. I told Elizabeth when I got the RFP, I was trying to not get too excited because I know how submitting bids work, but I truly feel very excited for the project. I started working at Dive and Surf when I was 15 years old. Then I worked at Body Glove, and then came full circle and got hired by Body Glove to do a freelance project for them. But my ties to the community are strong. I'm a local, married a local, moms are locals. So this project is something that I don't take lightly, and I'm excited to be a part of.
And just as a testament to that, she had a baby last Wednesday and she's here tonight.
Wow, that's impressive.
I'm here, 6-day-old in the car with my mom.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Does anyone have questions for me on my design process or experience?
Well, first of all, happy Valentine's Day
Thank you.
and happy baby birthday, new baby. So my only question, I asked the manager this, what I fear, this isn't really kind of towards you, but this is kind of what, I don't want to be signing this contract and you guys come back to us, oh, everything's done, here it is. And then the public kind of sees it the first time, and goes, including us.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's as much on us as it is to sort through a process that allows, we're trying to balance community engagement with efficiency, right? That was kind of the idea of the refresh logo. And we do have flexibility, as Elizabeth mentioned, in the contract for additional hours on a time and material basis. It would allow for additional public meetings to provide input and circulate the draft design. So we have that capacity. We need to get a draft together. I think we want to circulate it to commissions and the public, and we might do some specific stakeholder meetings to gather input, and then ultimately bring that input back to the council for consideration, then we can finalize the design. So we want to move this swiftly, but with significant thought and contributions from the community. And as we've said in prior meetings, our goal here is to use this refresh logo as part of our new website launch. So we're able to synergize, those two designs in that effort.
And I've got my online and in-person community meeting as well, so we can use that.
Yeah, absolutely. All your district meetings are great forums for that feedback as well. And some of that we may just do as staff as we carry the draft out, circulate that, and then share that as we collaborate.
Great.
And that's a common fear when I sign new projects with clients. They're afraid that they're gonna sign, pay the check, and then be like me, say, here it is, enjoy it. But really it's a process that I take great pride in, that I really like to get to know, like you said, different stakeholders, and there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen on this project. And I'm very familiar with getting lots of different feedback from lots of different folks and trying to then reiterate that creatively and output something that meets, everyone's feelings. Of course, I've been in situations where it's like, Joe likes green, Bill likes blue. How do we figure that out? And there's actually a really fun process. We're usually asking questions and finding out why people are feeling a certain way about something helps resolve that. And so I'm not afraid of that. And I don't want you to be scared or feel like you're going to pay for something and then not like it.
Yeah.
It's never happened for me, knock on wood.
Okay. Councilmember Lone?
Yeah, this is great that we're going through this process. Any remainder of the money we allocated could be used for whatever we use in terms of stationery or anything else in terms of logos?
Yeah, we are kind of working on a bit of a shoestring budget here. There is no formal appropriation for this, so we.
But there is no formal.
No, we're
I thought the
drawing.
70,000 was for.
No,
that's a ballpark.
Yeah, that was a ballpark. That was an estimated cost that we thought would be kind of the ceiling in a phase one option, and we had a quote for just about as much of that. So we're using some creative accounts in our city manager's office to cover this cost, since it was reasonable enough. Otherwise, we would have had to brought back an item for appropriation.
And are you anticipating that we will be needing to spend money to change the logo?
Eventually merchandise through our materials and supplies budgets will have to be updated to reflect the new design.
Okay.
We do have ongoing core operating budget to support regular purchase of materials, so I think we'll be able to, once we get the graphic in place, to update accordingly. But we'll have to, significant changes in any iconic structure that might require more capital investment, we'll have to bring back through the budget process.
Right.
Yeah.
So will this include the typefaces as well to the logo, and all of the what's it called, the whole logo sheet and ensemble of images and all that stuff? So we're gonna do fonts as well, updating fonts.
Everything's part of a branding redesign. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily.
Or refresh. Yeah.
Not necessarily, but
That's covered
okay.
here.
Yes.
The answer is yes here.
okay.
No,
It says
yes.
logo, but I would never send you off into the world with just a logo.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole sheet we had here before with, the SVG files, PNGs, all that good stuff.
I'll give you more than what
Yeah.
you want.
Multi black and white and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Thank you. So public comment. Yep. Take a seat there. Yeah. Sheila. And we're going to copyright this.
Yes. Trademark. Try.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Narenheim, council members, Sheila Lamb, District 4. Thank you for bringing forward the Redondo Beach brand and logo redesign. Like you, I believe that the current brand and logo are outdated and both need a refreshing new look. I also believe that this redesign is a matter of great interest for our residents, and they will appreciate the opportunity to make comments. A new city logo will reflect the city and the residents' unique and vibrant culture and identity. I have read the scope of work and would like to offer some suggestions for the planning phase. First, there is no reference to a public outreach plan, except for 4 20-minute interviews with no specification of who, what, where, or why those interviews will be conducted. May I offer some suggestions to ensure high-quality public engagement? Conduct a public meeting in person or on Zoom at some point in the process. Announce the meeting in the newspaper. Conduct an online poll. Create a web page dedicated to the logo redesign and include the timeline. And give residents an opportunity to sign up for updates. We only need to look at the success of the Harbor Amenities Plan to see the positive impact of high-quality community engagement. Let's proceed in the same manner with the brand and logo redesign. This can be done with but a few changes to the scope of work. A new city logo will reflect the city and its residents' unique and vibrant culture and identity. Let's bring the residents into the process and not leave them out. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's definitely the overall theme.
Hi, Eugene Solomon, Redondo Beach. It sounds like you might have addressed it there as an aside, but to avoid the history that we have of not owning the intellectual property of our logos, I would hope that this contract, I'm sure it does, includes all of the different intellectual property necessary for us to not have a problem down the road. Thank you very much.
When I said that, the more to see portion of the item actually expired recently, actually. And I said that at the review your bid meeting, and Jeff Ginsburg was, oh, it expired. This means I can register it. Which you can, anyone can right now. The more to see aspect, that's the Chamber of Commerce though. That expired recently, but we're not gonna reuse that, so it's fine. All right, any other public comments from the public coming down? Anyone via Zoom?
Candace Nafisi.
Good evening, Candace Nafisi again. Just wanted to underscore what Sheila had shared before, the importance of community input. It's such a valuable opportunity to ensure that our logo is reflective of what our community is and who they are. And those community meetings can be, via Zoom, poll, as she shared. It just will really, really help determine what that logo might look like. And I think after you meet with different subsectors of our community, you'll really see a story that will be easy to tell in a picture or in a logo. And so it's such a valuable opportunity for us. Thank you.
I don't see anyone else's hands up, and there are no e-comments for this item.
Okay.
I have my hand up.
Oh, there you go. Councilmember Horvath. All good.
Yeah,
I was going to ask next, so.
Oh, thank you. So, it's rare that that's something that you've done for your career comes up before the council. So in this case, I want to thank staff for putting in the buffer, because my concern, having worked as a graphic designer for over 30 years, is that the amount we have set is not enough for something that clearly requires, public input and process. And I'm sure as the owner would agree, too many cooks in the kitchen can always muck something up. So, I want to make sure that we give her a lot of leeway and trust in her expertise to soak in all the information to the points made by previous commenters. And to bring back, her ideas and vision of what that is. But I don't want to clearly abuse her time. And I want to make sure that, that those buffers are there for her, because my guess is she's going to go over that amount. But I appreciate it and look forward to seeing what comes of it. Remember, it's a very subjective process.
Yeah, I think the answer part of that is, Councilmember Horvath and Elizabeth, you can correct me, but is that the city takes part of that lead and engagement for community outreach and community input.
Yes, exactly.
So that to minimize the cost on the third party.
Yeah.
Correct?
So we'll be consulting with Stellan Design on how to best get her the information she needs. So we plan on doing community surveys, community meetings, lots of outreach. And we'll certainly have it up on our website as well. I don't know if we'll have a dedicated website, but it'll certainly be out there and on our social media. We'll be carrying a lot of that weight.
Okay.
Great.
So the designer does designer, not community stuff. That's
Right.
important.
Vicky, if you could remove me as a speaker.
You can mute yourself, Ms. Nafisi.
Our intention, just so we're all clear, is to incorporate a lot of the suggestions that Sheila has made, and that would be our goal. Our contract might read a little bit more rigidly than it should in this case. Right now, the additional hours of time is listed as for city council and commission meetings. I think our intention there is for all community meetings, so I would suggest that we expand that to just include the word "and other community meetings." Because I think the forms we take may not all be in formal settings. It may be public settings, it may be online, it may be Zoom. So probably not an absolutely necessary distinction right now, but if it's making others feel more comfortable about the collaborative process, that's a change we can make.
On Exhibit C, if you look at Exhibit C, it allows that overflow in A, that the city can request additional hours for city council and commission meetings. It doesn't allow for other forms of community meetings, and it's at the request of the city. So it would be probably appropriate to include other community meetings in that.
Because I think those forms will be, the goal, I think, in some of those instances will be to be less formal in that kind of dialogue with the community.
Okay.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve this contract with the changes to include other community meetings.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else have any comments on that? Any members of the public want to continue? Designer? Miss? Good. All right. Without any further ado, all in favor? Aye. Passed unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations. All All right, so back to the agenda. How many more items do we have to go here tonight? Oh, all right, city manager items.
Yeah, just, you all mentioned it, another thank you from all of us for the work that our police department, fire and public works personnel put into helping the 10K organizers carry out another successful and safe event. As was mentioned, we had no responsibility for the race course signage. I'm kidding. So it was a nice day. It's always great when we get through that successfully. But what people may not have noticed is we worked very closely with the operator this year to try to be more efficient about the use of city services that would need to be reimbursed, and ultimately to allow the chamber to carry out the event in a less costly way. So I think that went well. We haven't formally debriefed with the operator. We will be doing that, as we always do, after these activities to confirm, but that's the initial feedback I've received. So hopefully that was seamless. People didn't notice the changes in the support personnel that were there, and that's a good thing if that was the case. So we'll continue to work with the chamber and their racecourse operator for future events and try to be as efficient as we can. That's all I've got.
I noticed the private security people there while I was running, and I was like, oh, I know why they're there. It looks good. Thank you. Actually, I had a question on the police crow's nest that went up.
Yeah, that was a grant fund. I was going to mention it while you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt, but that was a grant funded device that we purchased. We can probably get you all a little more detail on it if you like, but you might remember a staff report. Gosh, it's probably been about 10 months now, I think. You accepted the grant, and part of that capital outlay was for this particular piece of equipment. So it's great from a strategic operation and tactical standpoint. I think we used maybe terrorism grant funding that was available. I think federal money, if I recall correctly. So yeah, great piece of equipment, and we're excited to deploy it.
Awesome. All right. So that brings us to mayor and council referrals to staff. Councilmember Lowenstein.
Actually, I have none tonight.
Councilmember Horvath.
Mike, just want to follow up on that request for June, recognizing June as Pride Month and raising the flag.
Yep.
Is that coming back?
Yep, that's coming back. I don't think we're going to do it next week. I think it's going to be in our March, on our March agenda, one of our March agendas. Since we're talking forecasted agenda, there's been some questions about the Metro Green Line comment letter. As you know, that's a referral. The Planning Commission is actually kicking around that item on Thursday night as part of their monthly agenda. That will be back in front of the council post-commission first on March 14th, and then I believe we'll have it back again on the 21st to give the council a couple bites at the apple.
All right. Councilmember MD.
None, thank you.
I think last week I addressed let me go to my motions here. Let's see here. Monthly investment report and the other item.
You made the referral on coming back with shared living, co-living ordinance.
That's done. Okay. That's all I have for me. All right. Well, that brings us to recess.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was unbelievably fast. Right? See?